What I would like to see happen in the future is that other teachers can see what's possible to do at their schools. So whether it's a club, a classroom, or the school community, that they can put together something as simple as a peace garden, and that they would see that the Mattie J.T. Stepanek Foundation is a pathway to become peacemakers.
The Pathways to Peace program at Furlow Charter School had worked to come up with a plan that would reflect Furlow's response to Mattie and his messages.
Mattie's a 13-year-old late poet, peacemaker, and philosopher who played. A young man who lived a short life but left us countless messages.
The kids are hungry for something. They need a voice. They need an outlet for what they feel. And so many times when children don't have an outlet, they show anger, they show frustration, they do the opposite of peace. And so if you start in kindergarten or first grade talking to them about the messages of peace that Mattie gave us, then they have an outlet. They know where to go when something's not right. They know how to step forward, to go forward in peace.
Mattie said peace is possible when our basic needs are met. I wonder what that means.
It gives them something to hold on to that's meaningful. And because Mattie was a child, they listened.
I had heard Miss Arnold talk about him. And then I looked into him because she made us do a writing on it for service learning. Basically, it's something for seniors to do, to leave something behind.
We try to teach people what is peace and how is peace possible. And one of the things that we do at the foundation is the Peace Certification Program. We encourage more of an ownership of peace, that you really choose to reflect on something that Mattie said, that Mattie stood for, that Mattie believed in. And then ultimately for peace certification is after you've reflected and responded, you're going to reach out to someone beyond you or your community.
They just wanted to get everyone involved on every level to have some piece of the peace that would be reflected in the Peace Garden.
I traveled to Rockville, Maryland to meet Jenny Stepanek, and I was blown away with Mattie's park. And as I walked through the park and as I saw all of those pieces, I knew that that was something we could do at Furlow. And so that was the moment of inspiration. And I saw the peace pole, and I saw the benches. I saw the chess mats, and everything had been laid out for me. I knew that at Furlow we had an area that this would also work well in. At Furlow Charter School, we're a project-based learning school, so that means everything we do involves reflection, and that was a natural step for us. And the Peace Garden was responding to that reflection.
I learned about it through my teacher, Miss Arnold. I started working on it and just got really involved and sat out there for days working on it. She wanted me to dig the path to the peace pole.
Our peace pole has 8 different languages of peace is possible. Those are the languages of the kids in our school. But what was wonderful was watching the kids walk to the pole and finding their language. You know, we go to how can our children, after they have reflected on how the school can be a part of the peace process, and they've responded by developing a garden and doing a peace plan and integrating the message in all of these lessons and all of these projects throughout the year. How do they then reach out to the community?
For my capstone project, I actually did a metal peace sign with a raised bed around it, because peace sign represents peace, and I got to use something I love to do, which is welding.
And so teaching these young scholars about service learning and commitment to community as they're developing their own skills, their own hobbies, their own strengths, future careers, preferences, talents, exploring and finding out and realizing what do I enjoy, what do I have to offer to the world, and how can I use this regardless of career, regardless of job, regardless of what I do in life. How can it all still be rooted in purpose for peace?
Kids want to just fight for no reason, in which I look at it as I built the Peace Garden. Go there, find yourself before you try to fight somebody.
He just said, you know, I think I want to do this. And I said, okay, I need people to show up at this time with this project in mind, and we're going to get started here. he just showed up. But what impresses me about Charles is that he worked. He saw what needed to be done, and he made sure that it was finished correctly. What I was able to do was say, here is an idea, here is a plan for what I'd like to see, and I was able to turn it over to the students.
They encouraged the scholars to be a part of creating the program, creating the garden, creating the flags, creating the artwork, designing the program that even celebrated the dedication of the garden, and then reaching out to the community at large and inviting them into the garden. It symbolizes what peace can be, and when we say peace is possible, here's a classic example.
I left behind pretty much the entire Peace Garden, planning on going back, seeing if I can't talk to a couple teachers. That way I could teach some of the younger kids to go out there and try to help take pride of it. Make it a safe space for others. Because it promotes peace, it keeps violence and stuff out of our schools. It gives kids that are having a hard time for them to go out there and just sit, and it be a safe spot for them to get away for a little while.
The garden is more than a place. The garden is symbolic of people. Peace has to be taught. Peace has to be learned. We cannot say to our children, algebra matters, history matters, literature matters, and not teach it to them. What they have done is exemplify all of that. When they do that, we can take that to another teacher, another school, another district, another state, and say, yes, peace is possible. It's not about building a legacy as much as living with purpose so that our essence continues to touch future generations with hope and with peace. That's what really matters.
Ever since I worked on it, I just more looked towards bringing peace to people.
I try not to push. You know, when kids want to come to me and they want to share and they need me, then I'm watching for those moments. But if I can give them an outlet instead of a conversation,
Mama, please tell me I matter.
whatever they need. So it comes back to understanding their needs. And Charles needed the Peace Garden, and the Peace Garden needed Charles.
It should be no surprise then to learn that Charlie is also receiving the inaugural Mattie J.T. Stepanek Peacemaker Award in recognition of his contribution to Furlow Charter School